Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. So let's close this. Let's close that. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Perfect. While we wait, let me close this. Okay. While we wait a few more classmates, as usual, feel free to ask me if you have doubts, if you have things that you would like to review, or how to do this, how to do that. Good morning. Okay, make me questions about things that you would like to know. AutoCAD related, of course, or about your projects, or about projects in general. Because today I want to show you, there are a few more things that I want to show you. I don't know which one is more useful to be done first. Good morning. So as I said, in the meantime, if you have doubts, questions that you think can be interesting for all of your classmates, feel free to ask them. If you have. Okay. Yes, I have some questions. When you do the plan for the second floor and can see stairs from... This is a very interesting question, but you know why? Because a lot of students make this exact mistake. That is, they just draw the stairs and mechanically draw them with dashed lines, and then what they do is just they copy paste stairs from ground floor to first floor, while it is wrong, and it is exactly as you said. So look here. I mean, I don't want to open any project with the name because let's see, I've seen something wrong in this file. Or wait, this file has no name. Perfect. So only the author of this file knows who he is. So let's see this problem in here. Look, in here we have a staircase that has two small problems. problem number one is in here there is the arrow that is missing to better understand the fact that you go up from this side. And this was, something very, very simple. Second problem is stair is correctly drawn in here because when you go up in floor plan, whatever was visible, it remains as continuous line, but when you go after a certain level, lines will become dashed. And this is good because from the level that you are, these objects are going above. And in here, the other problem these stairs have, there is not related to the drawing of stairs, but is where they are placed. If you see, is that you go up, let's say these are steps that you do, no? But at a certain point, boom, you hit the wall. And let me tell you, this would be a little bit wrong. So this is not according to how stairs are drawn, but is where they are. So let's say they should be moved at least 90 centimeters away from the wall, so that these upstairs becomes a landing, and then you can go upstairs. But when you are upstairs, the problem is that these steps are not above our viewing height, while these steps are all underneath this level. So drawing them with dashed line is unbelievably wrong. They are all visible because from where we are, so from the floor where we are, these are all going down and not up. So this is when stairs are visible from your upper level, they should be drawn exactly like this color in here. Okay? Is this the question, first of all? I think so. Yes. And in here, they should appear exactly as they are here. Same layer, same line weight, same line type, same everything. So I want to show you also these beautiful tools, this beautiful tool that you can use to quickly fix issues related in your lines are drawn into a wrong layer or in the wrong line type or wrong line whatever, that will make your life a lot easier. So look, see this, my problem right now. So let's see first the problem that I want to solve. Right now I have this stair. Right now this is fine, this is okay. Let's say I should first of all move this one, but if I move it, technically it goes underneath the floor. So but just to let you understand what I want to do. In here, these steps are not dashed. They should match this drawing style. They should match because they are visible, because they are underneath the level and not above the height. So what I can do is this. This is not my drawing. So I don't know right now which kind of layer or line type or line type scale. I don't know anything about this drawing, but I just want to fix it so that these lines match these lines. So what I can find is that in AutoCAD there is this tool here. If you have a Mac, it has a similar icon. It is just smaller and it is placed somewhere else. It is just looking, if I remember, like a small brush. This tool is called Match Properties, and if you can't even find the symbol itself, you need to know that there is a keyboard shortcut for that. There is MA, and then you hit enter. MA is for Match Properties. And how it works is very simple. That is, you first select one object that has right properties that you would like to apply to something else. So this one must be one object. Once that you select the object that is right, you click Match Properties, and then you will select, no matter if you select one or multiple objects, but objects that you will select afterward will acquire properties of your source object. Okay? Is it clear what I've done? So that I will make another example or not? Is it clear what this tool does? But I will make another example to show you how useful this thing is. Clear. So let's make another example. That is this. It is pretty annoying. I know. It is pretty annoying when you have situations like, look, here, no, again, these stairs. So, select these, match properties, and then select all of these elements. Oops. This not. So I select the wall, match properties, and I fix these again. Select these, match properties, and I select all these lines, and this is fixed. And this works for everything. So you can see that here I have glass. Glass must be made with the hatch that is called AR roof, but the angle of these, if you keep it horizontal, let me tell you, this means water. If you want to make it glass, the angle of this hatch must be 45 degrees. 45 degrees, and AR roof is glass. But now I also have this hatch here, no problems. Select the one that is correct. Go to my Home tab, select the one, click Match Properties, and then select the object that I want to fix, that is this one. And in one click, I have fixed this hatch in here. This works even in this case. Look, this line should be dash dot line, that is a section line. It doesn't have to be continuous. So what I should do is, let's say I select this one, I have to place it it is into a layer called limites. I should change limites layer to be dash dot, that is this one. Okay, and I will see that my line is better. But if I want to change even line type scale, this happens line by line. So I have to select this one. Let's say I make line type scale 2, so that it is larger and more visible. Perfect. Select this one, click match properties, select all other section lines, and in a second all of them will have correct line type scale as well. So all elements that are inside properties can be matched in this way. For example, here, this is something in a layer called mobiliario. This is mobiliario. This is mobiliario. This is paredes de cristal. No, everything else looks fine. This is doors. This is mobiliario. Paredes. Mobiliario. No, it's okay. So everything else is fine, but with match properties, you can quickly select objects. No, keep it. You also said in this way who was the person who has made this drawing. No, what a mistake. No, keep it as it is. And by the way, this is a perfect hook to show you what I want to start with today. There is this. Look. Whenever I start a new file and I click OK, I want to show you this. Look, whenever I start a new file, there are operations that are so repetitive, because if I go to layer, for example, I can see that my layer structure starts always by being empty, and by having only the 0 layer that is white, there is only continuous line type, there is line weight that is default. And each time that I start a new project, I need to start by creating layer paredes that are, let's see, I have to create, let's say, the layer for walls, layer for stairs, layer for furniture, layers for symbols, hatch, dimensions, and then maybe in all my drawings I want to keep a certain consistency, so I want that all my drawings have walls that are blue and they are 0.8, doors that are yellow and they are 0.4, projected walls, maybe I like them pink and I like them 0.2, and so on and so on. So I don't want to keep doing these each time that I start a project, because this is, first of all, a waste of time, but second of all, I can't remember each time which layer, which line weight, which line type I was using into all my other projects. So I have to open one, copy same projects, open, copy, open, copy. While I can do this instead. That is, when you make a new file, technically, what you do is you start by selecting something that is called a template. And, in general, no one takes care of this starting step, also because sorry, when you just click start drawing, a template is automatically selected by default, and it is pretty annoying that there is a template that makes your file starting each time from scratch, with no informations, with nothing set from the beginning, and you have always to make everything from scratch. While you can instead make this without really drawing anything, so I don't want to include elements into my drawing while I want to start using layers. Look, I go to my layers menu and I start clicking new layer here. Yes, why it is frozen? Layer. New layer. Wait a second. No. Start drawing. Okay, layer. New layer. I don't know why previous file was freezing. It's okay. So let's say I call this walls that are cut, and I change the color. Let's say I said I like them with this color. I like them to be 0.8. Then I make another layer, and I will call it walls projected, so those that are not cut, and I like them magenta, let's say, thickness 0.2. Lovely. Then I want to make another layer, and I will call it doors, and I want my doors to be yellow, to be 0.4, and so on and so on. I will make windows. I can keep them yellow, and I can keep them 0.4. I can make furniture, let's say, just to add a little bit of spice, 0.3, change the color to green, then I move on, I make hatch, I make it gray, I make it very thin, like 0.09, and what else I can put? I can put dimension, and dimensions, and I can make them, I don't know, red, and 0.13. What else I can have? I can have stairs, so I can have stairs, and again I can make them those that are visible, and let's say the color will be this beautiful color in here. They will be 0.4 or no 0.2. I can make another layer, stairs, and I will call them dashed. I can even keep the same color while I will change my line type, so I will make load, dashed, select, OK, and I have this. I can make my section lines, and let's say which color is missing. I don't know. This kind of orange looks nice, but I will load dash dot, this one. Okay, so look, I want to make these once in my life. I don't want to repeat creating all these layers for all projects. In this way, all my projects will have instead, I want them to have same aspect, same properties, boom, boom, boom. And I also would like not to repeat these steps all the time. Just one extra note, that is, if you see when I call my layers, it looks like I'm not using correct English because I'm writing walls cut, walls projected, or I'm using stairs visible and stairs that are dashed, while we all know that in English it should be written cut walls and projected walls, and so on and so on. So why I don't follow this simple rule, if you want to know, it is because AutoCAD, when I make my layers, AutoCAD shows them always in alphabetic order. So when I want to scroll my layer list in here, I will find all my layers that are listed by their names. So if I write, look, cut walls, projected walls, when I want to select one of these two layers, they won't be near each other, while cut wall will be at the beginning, projected wall will be immediately before stairs. Okay? And same thing for stairs that are visible and dashed. If I call dashed stairs and visible stairs, dashed layer will be at the very beginning of my list, and visible stairs will become basically last layer in my list. So a lot of people, for example, used to add numbers to their layers because numbers are read before the letter in alphabetic order. So a lot of people used to write layers, call layers like, I don't know, 0, 0 walls, 0, 1 windows, 0, 2, etc., etc., so that the number gives the alphabetic order, and next to the number there is the voice that explains what that layer is about. Okay? But at least understand that because layers are listed by their name, if you write first what the layer is about and then you specify additional parameters, your life would be a lot easier. Okay? So till now I haven't done anything special, while I want also to do something that is pretty annoying all the time. That is, in each new project that I do, as you may have seen, you have to correctly set your dimension style. But if I like a certain dimension style and I set it once, I don't want to keep adjusting line dimension style for all my files. So again, what I will do is I type D, that is for the keyboard shortcut for dimension style, and I set it now, even if I haven't created any dimension. So what I will do is I go to modify, I start setting my dimension style so that is similar, correctly shown for millimeters and for architectural drawings. So what I do is I suppress extension lines, I go to symbol and arrows, and I use architectural tick. I change the arrow size, let's say, I think it was 50 or 60, I don't remember. Then I go, if I change the arrow size to 50, I have to go to text and change text height to 50 as well, because I'm planning to make my drawing in millimeters also. I have to go to primary units, and I don't want to see any decimal numbers after my dimensions, because it will mean that I will be able to measure fraction of millimeters, so I change precision to 0. Okay, and close. So what I have done now is basically I have made an empty file. It is just empty. There are no drawings, but in this file, at least, I have set my layers, and just as additional step, I have set also my dimension style. But this is an empty file. Ready for this? Because we will see also a couple of things later on, but at least this is too cool to be true. So, say this. If you want now, and if you don't want also to keep making your new projects and keep making these steps, what you can do is you can go to File. You will click the option, take care, that is called Save As. Okay? And when you click Save As, most important thing that you have to change in here will be, beside the file name that you should change in a way that you can remember. Let's say I will call school example. The file name is just for you, but most important is in this second part where it says files of type. From here you have to open this menu and you have to save your own file in this specific format that is called AUTOCAD drawing template, that has the extension of DWT. Okay? So I save it as DWT. In this particular moment, you will see that the file name is gone, so you have to rewrite it. But more important is that when you choose that you want to save your file as a template, AutoCAD will immediately bring you to this weird folder that is where all other templates are automatically saved. That is where you have to save your own. So again, I just change the name. I call it school example, and I am saving this file. Take care. That is here. I am saving it in this format here, that is AutoCAD drawing template, or if you want to check it, it is DWT, because it is drawing template. Okay? But see the magic. You save it as a DWT once in your life. Whatever is written here, yes. Okay? Ready for this? Because, I mean, this would be fantastic now. Look, I can close it. Next time that I start my drawing, I will go to New, but instead of clicking here, I can see that when I want to make a new one, there is the menu that is called Template, that allows me to choose from which template I want to start. So I open template, and somewhere that is here, I will see that into the list of available templates, there is also the one that is called school example. So look, I'm starting a new file from scratch, but I want to use this file as a starting template. So at the very beginning, it looks like we have just an empty drawing. Okay, so at the very beginning, it looks like we haven't done anything special, while if we see in this file called drawing 4, there is a new drawing. If I go to layers, boom, I find immediately all layers that I have created for this template. If I go to the dimension style are already set as I want them to be. So if I go, let's say, to the layer that is dimensions, and I make a dimension line, dimension line immediately works. I have set it once, and each time that I use my template, it starts by remembering that adjustment, that setting that I've set for my dimension style, for my layers, and for many other things. So you can save your plot style. Let's say you can save it to monochrome. You can make a few more things also that we are going to see right now. But for now, is it clear what we have done or not? Let me check. Let me see the chat. Perfect. Very nice. Another question. Another question that is not actually related to what we've seen, but it's okay. So, can the stairs start widely and then narrowly? It's very complex to say, narrowly, but with the minimum width of 90 centimeters, or should they have same width? I mean, in general, stairs, but from a pure design point of view, you can do this. You can do this. I mean, but for sure they can be narrower than 90 centimeters. In general, I mean, shouldn't happen. But from the designer point of view, then yes, you have to see if the result is pleasant or not. For example, let's see if I can quickly find a picture of Olivetti store in Venice, just to show you an example that came to my mind like this. Look at these stairs. Let's see if there is a bigger picture. Pinterest, no, I hate it. Okay. For example, these are stairs that are exactly like you are saying. There is a landing. It's weird, there's a solution, but there is a landing to start. Then we have first two steps that are a little bit larger, then two that are a little bit narrower, then a long landing, then the rest of the stair that is narrower. Okay, so I mean, it is possible. I don't know how much it would be functional, but 100% yes, you can do it, let's say. Okay, so you can see that these are narrow on top, very long, slightly larger, large, super large in here. Okay? This answer solves? Perfect. Yes, exactly. So, let's see one more thing today that is a little bit complex, not impossible to be done, by the way. I mean, but I want to show you one way to print your drawing in order to make not just printing your drawing, because we have already seen how to click print and that is not that hard. I want to show you instead a more professional way to create drawings ready to be printed, because right now we are able, and I'm not doing this on purpose, but I just want to open a pre-made drawing, even if it has small mistakes, but overall should be fine. Okay? So, see this. When I want to make my final presentation and I want to print my drawing into PDF, or not for my class, of course, but I want to print them into paper and so on and so on, having just a white file, a white page with your drawing in the middle, I mean, let me tell you, it's not that good looking. What I want to show you is that, look, let's see if I can find an example. Let's see. Let's see if I can show you an example. No. We can call it let's say no. Give me 3 seconds. Exactly. See the difference. If I want to make a technical drawing, no, and I just print something like this, I mean, it's not that pleasant. Could be better. At least I just remembered that I have included my name on the drawing, but it could be better, and I can make a presentation that would be more or less like this. So where I have edges of my page, I have drawing, and I can have even more than one drawing on the same page, even with different scale factors, because this is an overall view of the house, this is a bigger view just for the kitchen, and then there is a space where I have written my name, the day of the year, the name of the client, the name of the project, maybe my logo, my info, and stuff like that. So this is a lot more professional and better way to present your drawing to a teacher, to a client, okay? And I want to show you how to make these in AutoCAD, okay? And let's say, go back in here. So, let's see how to make this happening in AutoCAD. First of all, this part of the drawing must be made when you have completely finished all of your technical drawings. So at the end, when you have your floor plan, your second floor plan, your section, this is wrong as a section because this section is missing lower floor part. Okay, let's say this is not complete yet. There is an elevation. I mean, you have finished everything that you need for your final project, but now you need to go to the presentation. If you have AutoCAD in English, you can see that down here, you have something that is called model, that is in reality simply that area where we draw our lines, rectangles and everything. And then in here you should simply have two tabs that are called layout. Should be layout 1 and layout 2. The way that they are called doesn't really matter, because the first thing that we are going to do will be we will start by renaming our layouts in order to have a better understanding of what we are going to do. So look, first thing that I will do is I will right click over this word. Right now it is called presentación, or in yours should be layout. And first thing that I will do is I will rename it, and I will give my presentation, I will give a better name. So for me that will be about floor plans. Then I right click on my second one and I will rename these, and I will call it sections. Then I can even click plus to make a new one, and I will right click, and for example I will rename it as I don't know, elevations, and so on and so on. And I can add as many layouts that I want. But what I have to do next? Then I have to go to my layout, and basically what I see here is I have the possibility of building the page that I want, and I will see immediately how the layout will look like once that it will be printed. So, for example, I will do this. Look, I want to print, virtually print, I want to virtually print my layout with my PDF printer. So once that I have created my layouts, what I will do is, starting from the first, I will right click again on the name of my layout, and I will start by using this option here, the one that is called Page Setup Manager. And in here there are a few things that I have to set for my layout. So I click here, and I have to be sure that the one that I'm about to modify is the one that I've clicked. So, okay, and I click modify. So look, I have to make something that looks like I am going to print it, but with a few differences there are. Into the name here of the plotter, I have to use my PDF plotter. That is DWG to PDF, this one. The paper size is something that I can change as much as I want, and I can have layout that is A4, A3, A2, A0, landscape, portrait, how I want it to be. Let's say I will make an A3 horizontal. So A3 with first value that is bigger, so that is the width, second value smaller, that is the height. What I have to keep as it is instead, because I am working into the layout, believe it or not, is that I don't have to touch plot area, scale, and everything that is here. Whatever is there, because I'm using the layout, must remain as it is. So when I use a layout, what to print must remain layout. What to scale must be 1:1, because I will show you what we are going to do. Plot offset 0. So this part is something that you have not to touch. I will instead set that I want my layout to be presented in black and white. So I will click here monochrome. And also, because I don't want to see my colors in colors, but I really want to see what happens when I will print my drawing in black and white, before clicking OK, I will also check the option called Display Plot Styles. Okay? So now I click OK, and I click Close. And this is what happens. What happens is that, first of all, I will see that my page has been resized, and now this is a horizontal A3. So this will be 420 millimeters. This is 297 millimeters. Okay? Till here, because I don't want to go further if you can't follow me. But till here, is it clear what I've done? I'm creating a virtual page that is a horizontal A3. Okay? Someone say clear? Perfect. Because tricky thing is about to happen in a second. Okay, someone else says clear. Perfect. So now, look here. Basically, when we work into the layout that is also called paper space, we have basically two areas where we work in AutoCAD. Let me sketch them. We have this, no, sorry. Sorry. Okay. I was saying, we have our paper surface, that is what we see in white. This is the paper. But we have also our drawings that are drawn into another place that is called the model space. So, which is the way that we use to basically display into the paper elements that are drawn into the model. AutoCAD uses things that are called viewports. Viewports are basically like opening a window in order to see what is drawn into the model. And by using viewports into the model, I can start basically creating a paper that has two levels of elements. I have the possibility to place as many viewports that I want to show different, so this would be viewport 1, viewport 2, viewport 3, viewport 4, to show elements that are displayed into the model, that are drawn into the model, but at the same time I can instead draw certain elements directly on the paper that will contain informations that are visible only when I will print. That would be, let's say, my name, the title, the project, the client, and all other informations, but those will remain into the paper space and they will be completely independent from what I have drawn into my model space. When I make layouts, you will see that you will start by having one viewport here, okay? And you need, when you work with layout, you need to pay close attention to what is written here. Change the color to red. Can you see that right now it is clearly written paper? So what it means is that right now, if I draw something, if I put a picture, so if I go insert and I insert a picture, if I make hatch or whatever else, whatever I will draw will be something that will remain into the paper space, okay? And it will be visible only if I print my drawing from the layout. So, for example, into the paper space is where I can start drawing elements like I will draw this rectangle here just to have a frame into my printable areas. Then I can start using a very basic tool that is a text. So I can click text and I will start left click and making my paragraph where I will start writing things like author of the drawing, architect Marco Lucifer. This is clearly too small for my taste, so I will select the text and from properties into text height, at least I will make it 5. Oh, that's a lot better. And I will start placing these somewhere. Then I can write a lot more things, like I can write a very important part, that is the number of my drawing. Because when you present a project, you have to present it in a certain order. So you have to specify which is your first drawing, your second, the third, and you need to create your own hierarchy. So for example, I will write another thing. I will write like hashtag 01. And again, maybe this is too small, so I select the text and I will make it 10. Ooh, and this will be very visible. And I will move it again somewhere else. And I can add as many details that I want. I can also place these written informations where I think it is more useful. So like I can also write down here other things like client, and I will make like Florence Design Academy, but I don't want these in multi-lines, so I will make my paragraph larger. And then I will add the last two elements. That would be title, and we said that this drawing will be only about floor plans, so I will write floor plans, and maybe I will make it a little bit bigger, and I will write the scale of this drawing. Let's say scale will be, I don't know, 1 to 50. Okay? So I will move a little bit all these objects. You will be more precise. I want to add also my logo, but let's choose just whatever logo. Okay. Which one? I mean, this is terrible. Let's pretend that this is my logo. It is not. So I can save this picture. We'll call it logo. And I will drag and drop these into my paper space. Perfect. So that I also have my beautiful logo. And I can add whatever else, my email, telephone number, all my social. I mean, I can add all dimensions that I want. And I can also make it looking better. So I can start closing all these informations into rectangles. So I'm just drawing rectangles all around these elements. Okay, so the logo should be smaller. Perfect. And maybe the number should be a little bit smaller. Perfect. And I have created a drawing that contains several informations. Okay? All these things that I have drawn are drawn directly into the paper. So if I go back to my model, look, I will never see those elements, while they are directly made on the paper that I'm going to print as PDF. Okay? For now, till here. Is this clear what I've done or not? because, I mean, I haven't done anything particularly complex, but while I have drawn things by being into the paper space. And now we need instead to create our layout by placing only those drawings that we really want to see in our page. Perfect! So see this, because this would be phenomenal. Look at that. This rectangle here, if I select it, I can see that this is a viewport. So this is basically that thing that I was explaining, that is like a window opened to our model space. And in here we need to understand just two main aspects of the viewport. First of all, the viewport can be resized as much as we want. But if we resize the viewport, we are not scaling the drawing inside. We are just cropping the window that is opened to our model space. We are just cropping it. But also, as well as cropping it, we can also select the viewport and we can copy it to have as many viewports that we need. Why this? Simply because in this way, if we want, we can have, let's say, a viewport like this in here. We can have another viewport in here. Perfect. I can make these. They look very nice. No, here not. They can be larger. And why doing this? Simply because once that I have viewports, what I can do, and this, believe it or not, is unbelievably tricky, what I can do is I can double click inside each viewport. So take care to this particular step. Look, I double click in here. My viewport has now these extremely visible black edges. And now, if I use my mouse to zoom in, zoom out, or if I use pan to move, it happens this fantastic thing that is, look, I zoom in or zoom out inside that viewport only and not into the paper space. And if you look with particular attention, but if you look down here, where before it was written paper, now you can clearly read that now here it is written model. So now we are entering inside our model space, and if we change something from here, let's say if I delete this table, I will really delete the table from my technical drawing. Look. And you can also see that that table is gone not only in this, but it is gone in those other viewports because they are simply looking at my model. So I will go Control Z, by the way. Okay? Till here? And when I want to open another viewport, I will just, after double clicking into one of these, I will click into another viewport, and let's say I will zoom in like this. I will double click here, and I will, I don't know, I will make a zoom just for this bedroom area here. But only when I want to go back to my paper space, I will simply double click outside in this gray area. Look. And I automatically go back to my paper space. So I will work into the final page. Okay? Till here, is it clear what I've done? Because now things will become not only slightly complex, but let me tell you, they will open a world of possibilities. And I mean, once that you know layout, you can't live without. I've made a rhyme. I haven't done this on purpose, but should be the right way to say. I mean, once you know layout, you can live without. That is, I should make t-shirts like this. So, see what you can do now, because basically, if I zoom in or zoom out inside a viewport, what I do is I change how big or how small this particular viewport will be printed by knowing that this will be an A3. Okay? So these dimensions are fixed. And if I double click in here and I slightly zoom in or slightly zoom out, it happens that technically when I will print, this will be smaller or bigger. And this is exactly what the scale of a print is about. So what I need to do is, I can't just hope that if I zoom out, let's say this would be 1 to 50 or this would be 1 to 100. I can't guess. So what I can do instead is I can zoom in more or less like I would like my viewport to be. And then if I want instead to correctly set my scale for each viewport, and this will be viewport by viewport, what you can do is you can select the viewport. So take care, you have just to left click on it once just to select it as, and you will see a blue boundary all around it. And then into properties of each viewport, you will see this parameter here that is called standard scale. In here, it is very simple, that is this. And look, only if you were using millimeters, so if your drawing is made into millimeters, it simply happens that if you want this viewport to show you the drawing in the scale that is 1 to 50, you click here and you select 1 to 50. Okay? What is the problem here? The problem here is that, not probably, surely, this drawing is not in millimeters. And if I am right, I will discover that this drawing has been made instead into centimeters. So, same rule that works for printing works for layout. There is this. If I was using millimeters, the scale should be 1 to 50. But due to the fact that I'm using 10 times smaller units, my 1 to 50 in centimeters unfortunately becomes 1 to 5. If I was using meters, this becomes 1 to 5, 1 to 0.05. Okay? It is like that. So this is why I highly recommend, especially at the beginning of your AutoCAD career, to work in millimeters, because your life will be a lot easier and there are a lot less things to think about it. This is in centimeters, so I want it to, at least it's not that hard, so I want it 1 to 50, and here I have to write instead 1 to 5. Perfect. Then I can just double click. Don't use anymore zoom in or zoom out. Just use pan to, no, just use the pan to place it into the right position, and then double click outside. And I will do the same thing in here. Select the viewport. Let's say I want this to be 1 to 100, but again, this is in centimeter, so I will set it 1 to 10. This is in 1 to 10. I can see that these are a little bit too far from each other, so in my model I will simply move my second floor closer to my first one, so that I go back into my layout, poof, and this is here. I can double click inside and use the pan without zooming in or out to fix the position. This is last thing that I want. I want it 1 to 20, let's say, a zoom. So again, if it was millimeters, I should set 1 to 20. Because it is in centimeter, I will set it 1 to 2. Perfect. Double click inside. Use the pan. And I will have my phenomenal layout created. Okay? Till here? Because now I want to show you another thing that will probably blow your minds. But till here, is it clear what I'm done? That is basically I'm setting in a more precise way the zoom level to each viewport, so that it is the actual scale that each viewport will use to show me my model drawing. Perfect. Perfect. I'm so happy that this is clear, because it is honestly a little bit tricky, and I want to show you a couple of interesting things. Interesting thing number one. Can you see that these, I have set that I want to display my plotting style. So this viewport, even if my model is made with a lot of colors, this viewport is correctly showing me black and white lines. This viewport, it perfectly works. This viewport kind of looks like it is not working because it is showing me certain parts in black and white, certain parts in colors. This is, not a mistake, it's not a bug. If this happens, what you have to do is simply this. You have to double click inside the viewport, and you have to type a tool, a command that is called regen, and you can find it by typing RE. Okay? You press enter, and now your viewport is updated, and it shows you exactly how your object will be printed. Okay? This is thing number one. But this is nothing, because there are a lot more things that we need to discover about layouts. But is regen clear? Because now, there is nothing else that is wrong, but everything is in black and white. Second thing that you have to do, at least you have to know, is even if in your viewports you see this grid underneath your drawing, you have not to worry, because when I will go to print my layout, the grid won't be visible at all. It is just a way to quickly show you what is a viewport open on the model and what is paper. So it simply shows me that this is the paper space and this is the model space. But if I go to File, Plot, and I will just click OK, because in here my layout is already set from the beginning to be printed with the PDF printer, to be printed with the A3, to print the layout, to print in monochrome. So when I just click print and I click OK, and of course I'm using a PDF, so I won't print with the printer, but I will print the PDF file. But even if, as I was saying, in my viewports the grid was visible, when I make my final print, the grid completely disappears. Okay? So, this is just a visual thing. But if I show you this printed drawing, can you find something that is not that nice? Let's see if you can find it. Look, this is my final print. Beside the fact that there is written produced by Autodesk student and you have to survive because you can't delete it. But is there anything else that you don't like or not? Let me see. V2 is not aligned. V2 is not aligned. No. No, this is not right answer. But if you mean that the top of this wall is not matching with these, that is true. Something else? Let's see. Let's see. If you guess it, you will have A+ at the end of the semester, no matter what you do, really. So I give you last 30 seconds we don't see the scales. No, no, something else. Something else. You are doing your best to have A plus at the end of the semester, but I mean, we have 15 seconds. 15 seconds for the winner. Dimensions? No, dimensions are missing. No. Is there something wrong in these viewports? Time is running. No way! Section lines. Yes. Yes. No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So, in all of your class, just one student will have A plus. That is Ishprit. And but also Vishnavi said something interesting, that is last viewport has no name. So look this, there are two problems in here. One is a technical problem that is extremely important, that is section lines, and I would say not only. What you can see first of all is this. Look, in my model I have that these are dashed lines, okay? And in my, even if I zoom in, look, in here now, it happens that these steps looks like they are basically no dashed. In here they look continuous. Same thing in here. This should be a dash dotted line, as well as this. Okay? While here it is appearing with these weird dashes. Here it is appearing continuous. Here is continuous. Here is continuous. So problem one, the one that is a technical problem, is that, honestly, we have to fix something in our viewport. Second problem will be, like your second classmate said, instead, can you see that here we have a word that is main floor plan in the model, and it is big. But then we have same word in this other viewport. And because this is 1 to 50 and this is 1 to 100, here the word is 2 times smaller. And lastly, in here there is no title at all. So we have no idea what this viewport is about. So there are two main problems. One is a technical thing, that is line type, and another one is a presentation problem, that is texts, viewport by viewport, can't be bigger or smaller. They should have same exact size, okay? So let's see how to fix these two problems. Problem number one, let's fix the line type. So look, if I double click in here and I type again RE, that is regain, and I press enter, I will see exactly how my print is going to look like. But honestly, if I look at the model is looking a lot better, a lot more precise, even if, oops, this is not fine. Let's say load this one, okay, so layer, limites, it is dash dot, okay. So look, in the model everything looks fine, in here it is completely wrong. Look how big the line type becomes. So to fix this problem, viewport by viewport, you must use a utility that is this. Look, you have to, viewport by viewport, double click inside. When you are inside your viewport, you have to write this utility that is called PSLT scale, and it appears automatically just when you type PSL and you select this tool. In here, instead of new value 1, you have to type value 0. You press enter, and then by remaining inside your viewport, you type regen another time. So R-E, enter. And you will see that now your line type is correctly displayed exactly as it appears into your model. So if it looks fine into the model, it will look fine in this viewport. But unfortunately, you have to repeat this process into all of your viewports. So I have to click inside this viewport here. And I'm inside the viewport because I can see a thick boundary, and also because it is written that I'm inside the model space. So inside this viewport, I have to repeat the same process. I type PSL, that is the keyboard shortcut for PSLT scale, press enter, and set this value to 0. It is set to 0, so I press enter, and I type RE again for regen, enter. And I double click outside, and look, now these will be correctly seen as dashed and dash dot. This is correctly seen, okay? So it is a fixed way to proceed. That is, you have to go inside your viewport and you have to use a tool that is called PSLT scale, and the value for this parameter must be 0. Then you use regen, and your life won't be the same again. Okay? And this is to fix this technical problem that is about line type scale. That is what is written here. PS means postscript, LT is line type scale. So it is basically how it will be printed. Let's move on to finish this. There are just two things that I want to show you. There are how to fix the text. Text is very simple. There is nothing to imagine, nothing crazy. What you have to do is simply on your model, so where you have made your technical drawing, believe it or not, easier thing that you can do is select all of your texts and delete them. Don't write anything into your model space, while you should simply write things by writing directly on the paper space. So look, if I write something here and I write ground floor and then I set the height, let's say, to 10. No, 10 is too much. 7. Perfect. Even if it is drawn here, this is a text that is into the paper space. So I can move it, let's say, here. And then I can copy same text from this corner to the corner of this, to the corner of that, so that I can write in here, let's say, both floors, and I can also include other informations like scale 1 to 100. I will make just my paragraph longer. I can change this text and I can call it bathroom scale 1 to 20. I can click in here, double click, ground floor scale 1 to 50, and bit longer. Perfect. So these texts are written into the paper space. What it means is this. Look, if you change your mind, you can double click into the model and you will move this. So you can quickly make these, double click outside and call it, change this text and you will call it first floor. Okay? So the text is on the paper space and the drawing remains into the model space. So that when you print it, it will look like this, with text into the same exact format, no problems with the grid, lines will be correctly displayed. Okay? Yes? No? Maybe? Because I want to show you just one last thing for today, then really I will go to prepare lunch. But just one last small thing that is too important in order to correctly understand how powerful is to work with layouts, especially if you have layers. That is, I mean, something, it is too cool. And okay, so really give me last 5 seconds of your attention, because this would be extremely important. See this. Let's say in my model let's see if there is dimensions, límites, paredes, vegetación. No. So I make another layer and I will call this layer dimensions. I'll just change the color to red. I didn't make yet. Yet, not that sure. Exactly, yet. So look, I will add dimensions to my drawing. Just quick dimensions, random things in here, let's say this one. I mean, I'm just randomly putting dimensions just to show you that what happens is that when you have dimensions, maybe let's put another one in here. Exactly. So what happens is that maybe when you have dimensions, having dimensions and, let's say, furniture together is something that makes the drawing not that clear, because there are several overlapping informations. So see what you can do easily if you work with your layouts. That would be this. In your drawing, you will keep all of your dimensions in a layer. In a layer that is dimension. Okay. And let's put this one. Okay. Now check this. You go to your layouts, and let's say you go here. And what you can do is you can choose viewport by viewport which layers you want to show, which layers you want to hide, by using a feature of a layer that I have skipped on purpose when we have seen layers. That was about freezing a layer. So look, if I double click inside this viewport and I open my layer list, instead of using hide or freeze, what I will do is I will use this third option that is called freeze the layer in this current viewport. So for example, in this viewport I will freeze only dimensions. Okay, then I click outside and I will double click, but I've made a mistake. That is, these dimensions were not, I'm so bad. These dimensions were not into the dimensions layer, and I can see because I've made dimension layer red and they are still white. Oh, now it is correct. So look, in the model everything is visible, but I go to my layout. In this layout, in this viewport only, I have selected that I want to freeze that layer called dimensions. So same floor plan appears just with furniture but without dimension. And I can do the exact opposite in here. For example, having furniture displayed in 1 to 100 is completely unuseful, so I can double click inside this viewport and, for example, I can freeze the layer that should be furniture, that is mobiliario. So, and maybe vegetation, just to hide that palm tree, and I double click outside. So same exact drawing is displayed with furniture without dimensions, with dimensions without furniture, and you can basically overlap in your model a lot of layers, and then you can choose viewport by viewport, what to show and what not to show with this simple technique. Okay? Is that clear? Because this was last thing that I wanted to show you today, so that you can really start creating your final presentations in a lot more professional way. Oh, thank you so much. Perfect. So, just one quick note for next week. Prepare a lot of questions, because next week I would like to make a lesson that is questions and answer. Okay? So which layers you won't be shown on the final project? Another page? I'm not getting this question. Which layers you won't be shown on the final project? Let's say I'm not getting. Exactly. Ask me later. This is clearly something that it can't be answered, no, while you have like a like after 2 hours of class. Okay. So prepare a lot of questions, so that next week we will make something like a Q&A, like question and answers class. So everything that you have like a doubt, something extracted from your drawing. In general, yes, I give feedback by email, but you have to send me the fact that you have uploaded your file and tell me, dear Marco, I hope this mail finds you well. I have uploaded the project here and there. Can you just have a look and give me feedback? And in general, not like 1 hour later, but according. Did you get my email? When did you send it? Monday. It's not true. Monday. No. I have no emails from you. Absolutely not. I'm checking. I have emails yesterday, Tuesday answered, Saturday, Sunday answered, yesterday not answered, but it is not you. Spam, deleted. No email. So send it again, because I have. And I have not. What should I do? I mean, I can show you my email, but look, there is not. Send me again. Come on. Don't be lazy. Okay? Exactly. Send it again. Okay? If I have not, I mean, I'm a genius with computer. If I say that I have not, I have not. Okay? Perfect. Let me go, so that I close this live stream and I have to start my next class. We will see next week, Thursday, and if you send me email, I will try to answer by email if I get them. Okay? Bye, everyone. It has been a pleasure, and we will see next week.